Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Two Guys, Zero Planners. Joining me once again, I've got my co-host all the way from Germany. How you doing, Urban?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Forgot to make coffee, so we're going to be getting through this one so I can hurry up and get my, I think it's 14th cup for the day.
Yes, I also want a coffee, but it's going to be my first.
Yeah, I'm fighting off a turkey coma, so coffee is my best friend right now. Thanksgiving, man. Every year it just gets crazier and crazier. This year we had a deep fried turkey.
Huh. Yeah, no, Thanksgiving isn't a thing here. The kids didn't have school on Wednesday, and that was about it. Everybody else had to work. Christmas is, like Mike said on Panic, Christmas is what's important here.
Oh yeah. Every country has to have at least one day a year where they just have an excuse to have a really obscene meal.
Yeah. And in Greece, it's basically Easter.
I remember those days. I actually got to spend some of my childhood in Greece.
Yeah, that is also nice because it's warm already, right? On Easter time in Greece, and then you are already outside.
That it most certainly is. Before we get going, I wanted to go ahead and take a few seconds to talk about our running sponsors, Penn Chalet. Ron and the fine folks over at Penn Chalet partner up with us every week to provide great deals for our listeners. You can head on over to PennChalet.com, click on the radio podcast link at the top of the page, and use the code 2GUYS, that's the number 2, guys, for some great deals and site-wide savings. This week, because it's a holiday here in America, if you use the code BLACK15, that's BLACK15, you get 15% off as part of their Black Friday holiday shopping deal. And the best part about that does still apply to the fast free shipping that you get for orders over $50 in the US. It also counts towards your Ink Rewards points, so you can still earn free bottles of ink along with getting insane deals for Black Friday. Thank you to Ron and Penn Chalet for being amazing sponsors of Two Guys, Zero Planners. So I'm looking here at the first bullet point, Urban, and you picked up a Pelikan.
Yeah. This Pelikan you might actually have seen in a review. There's a German reviewer actually called Scribbly. He does a lot of pen reviews, and yeah, he was reviewing this pen, and apparently he didn't like it, and then he sold it. It was a pretty good price, so 85 euros including shipping is pretty nice. And now I have this Pelikan M205 clear special edition. I really, really like it. So the size is nice for me. I like smaller pens. And
what nib do you have on there?
So this is a medium nib. It's not like everybody says Pelikan. I mean, this is a steel nib, so maybe this is the difference. That's why it's not as wide as you. I mean, everyone tells you, hey, Pelikan nibs, they are super wide. And
I definitely agree with you there. The M205s that I've owned have always been consistent with the nib size, but the second you step into like the M400s, the M800s, those gold nibs, there's just an inherent inconsistency with them.
And this is now sort of the I mean, I like this pen so much that, yeah, next week there's a local pen meetup, and I've already asked people if they would bring their M600, 800s, and 1000s so I can try them out. Because I mean, they are expensive enough that you want to try them before you actually go out and buy them.
I kind of did that backwards last year. I bought them and then tried out the more expensive ones as the year went on. So I bought a M400 sight unseen.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up actually liking that pen, and then I ended up trading it for a Brooks pen. I have no clue where that Brooks pen went. Someone bought it.
I always hear the Pelikans are pretty expensive in the US. What do they? I mean, if I look here, an M200 is 200 euros. M400.
An M400 is 200 euros? Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Pelikan M400. We'd be looking at ballpark 300 US.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just for the basic M400. So any special edition, tack on like an additional $75 to $80.
I mean that gets a bit crazy here as well, those special editions. But I was surprised. I was actually surprised. I don't know, maybe not reasonable, but how those pens are not as expensive as I had expected. I mean, the cheapest I could find for an M1000 was actually 400 euros.
Now, was that brand new or was that used?
That was brand new.
Okay, yeah, because an M1000 brand new here, unless we order from like Cult Pens or something like that, is going to set us back at least $800.
That's quite the difference.
Oh, yeah, you really do get home field advantage over there, man.
Yeah. Maybe I should explore those pens because, yeah, we have the same disadvantage as the US with Japanese pens because, yeah, platinum pens, if they're even available, are also crazy expensive.
Yeah, when it comes to platinum, if you can find them on Amazon.com, it's normally a better route to go that direction to get them because you can
Yeah.
get them for close to Japanese pricing.
Yeah. Or if one of your co-hosts of the other podcast is currently in Taiwan, we've already checked out the prices, and this is also Japan pricing.
Well, I would hope Taiwan would be able to get Japanese pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be horrible to be that close and still have to pay US prices.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm also thinking if I really want a Pelikan, I may have to farm that out to you.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean,
that moment when it's cheaper to pay your co-host to get the pen and shipping than it is to get it here stateside.
I mean, you would have the additional advantage that shipping from Germany is also crazy cheap.
I actually finally figured out how much it was going to cost to ship that ink to you. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, thanks to the holidays. So once I write the response to the letter you sent me, finally recover from the holidays, I think it'll be the Monday after next. It's only going to cost like $16.
I mean, I've sent you 5 or 6 pens, and I sent it as a letter, and that cost me €3.70.
When did this go out?
2 days ago or so.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait, did this happen like a week and a half ago? Is there something I should be running to the mailbox to check for?
No, it's not that quick.
Oh, man. How quick does a normal letter from me get to you?
I don't remember. Let me say 2 weeks, maybe.
Because I know the last one that you sent me from the postmark to the time I actually got it was about 8 days.
Okay. Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah, it was a pretty good turnaround. I mean, nowhere near as good as an email or a text message, but hey, for snail mail, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
What's this other one on here? The
Pen BBS 469. So this is one of the newer Pen BBS models. This is this double-ended pen. So it's an eyedropper, but it has a nib on each side and sort of 2 chambers, and you can put in 2 inks.
Okay, you chose a good color for that pen.
Yeah, well, at this point, I wanted one, and this was the only one available.
I guess the other question, are both nibs the same size, or are they different size nibs?
They're the same size, but they are different nibs. So both are this number 6 size like you have on the 267.
Mm-hmm.
The one is a 2-tone nib, so think of like a sailor with this gold stripe going around it. And the other is, so this color always has a special nib, so this is called amber. And I think the cat of one of the core members of the Pen BBS forum, who's also selling on the Etsy store, her cat is called Amber. And so this nib says Amber is a cat, and it has cat paws on it.
I'll give Pen BBS one thing. I really like what they do with their one-off specialty nibs. Like the snowflake pattern on the one that I did the review on, that was a really well done snowflake pattern.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite fine details in here. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you say, a cheap Chinese pen, but they do put a fair amount of detail into the pen itself, and then like I kind of caught flack for it in the comments, but I actually like their packaging.
Yeah, for a Chinese pen, this is actually a pretty good packaging.
Well, I mean, if you pick up a Kaweco Sport, just a classic Sport, you normally just get it in that cardboard sleeve.
Yeah, same goes for the Pelikan.
Exactly. And it's like I get a $25 Chinese pen BBS pen that puts more care into the packaging. That's actually a class act on their part. I liked that.
Hmm. Yeah. Plus, my package was also pretty beat up like yours, but the pen was fine, of course, because the packaging was so sturdy.
Did I send you pictures of how that came in?
No, but then when I came home, I saw my package and it was all sort of, I mean, it wasn't open, but it was pretty close, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, like two of the corners were completely doubled over. Um, one of the corners was almost completely torn off. I don't know what happened in shipping, but that box had definitely seen better days.
Yeah.
We also actually found a small imperfection with that pen as well.
Okay.
On the cap of it, when Phil got the pen, he took a close look at the cap, and it was something I missed. And you can even see it in the video, but it blends in so well. It's a small divot, like a perfect semicircular divot in the cap. Like that's where they were going to like glue a gem or something in there, or maybe even a pen cap.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a perfect hollow out in the cap of the pen. And I didn't notice it just because it blended in so perfect.
Interesting.
Oh, now that bullet point makes sense about you sending out some Chinese pens. Oh,
Yeah, so I sent some to you. Tionte on Slack also asked about Chinese pens, and then I said, hey, I'm just going to send you some of mine. I have too many anyway. And then I had a few pens and nibs to send out to my co-host Daniel on the other podcast as well. So I bought a few Pilot italic nibs. I didn't really like them, and I basically sent him a pen per nib of those cheap Chinese ones, because a lot of them, if they're not number 5 or number 6, are sort of compatible with those Pilot steel nibs.
I look forward to seeing them. I may even have to do some more Chinese pen reviews.
So I just put in the pens. I didn't even label them. So I guess you will have to ask which ones they are.
Well, I'll do the typical thing and just try to find out on my own. And then once I've spent like 7 hours trying to figure it out, then I'll send you a message on Slack going, help.
Maybe you do it the other way around, because they all look pretty similar and it's just easier.
But what would the fun in that be?
Okay.
Now, I kind of skipped over the third bullet point here because I cannot say those names. What are those inks that you bought? The Ackermans?
The Ackermannings. Yeah, well, I'm not Dutch, so I'm not very good at it anyway, as well. So yeah, I finally broke down after, well, we talked about inks and Ackermannings on the other podcast as well. And I don't know why I decided to buy a Dutch Masters yellow ink. I'm not sure I can ever use 120 milliliters of yellow ink, but there you go. So this is let's try it, Gele Ocker van Frans ink, and the other one is the light green, the Hofkwartiergrün. So this is the standard line ink. And I must say, those bottles, they are pretty cool. I mean, even my wife can appreciate the engineering and the idea behind those inks, and she's not really into pens.
I definitely like the look behind the bottles. I don't know. It's something about the bottles themselves. It doesn't matter what you would put in there. Like you could put vodka in there, you could put whiskey in there. Fountain pen ink obviously works, but it's just like no matter what you put in there, it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair though, I kind of like in the picture you put in here, I really do prefer the bottle on the right.
The smaller one.
Yeah, the smaller one.
Yeah,
green.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, I also like those better.
I mean, I also don't see myself ever going through that much ink.
Speaking of going through ink, I don't know if you are trying to finish a bottle this year. So at the beginning of the year, people started this empty ink bottle challenge.
Hmm.
and I participated with a full bottle of diamine, 80 milliliters. Uh, this is now half empty, but then 2 months ago or so, I realized that I actually have another bottle that is much emptier. So I decided maybe it's a better idea to empty that bottle instead. Yeah, so now I'm down to 12 milliliters, so basically two uh, sample vials full of ink, and I may actually make it. And this is also, well, it is sort of, in a way, it is cheating because this is the first ever bottle I bought 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So I've spent 2 years emptying it, but still great to finally do that.
I've dumped out 7 organic studio bottles. Does that count?
I also emptied a 10 milliliter Gerber bottle. I accidentally dumped half the bottle, and I still count it as a success. So I don't know, maybe.
The bottle was emptied during the year. It doesn't matter how it was emptied. It was just emptied.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, in a legitimate sense, I did go through one bottle of Pelikan Edelstein Topaz.
Mm-hmm.
So that one I legitimately went through, and I've got the second bottle sitting in my cabinet. Although it also helps that I switched to like broad and double broad nibs. You're still writing with fines, extra fines, and mediums.
Yeah, I'm sort of slowly moving into the direction of broader nibs. I mean, these days I either have a full-day nib or at least a 1.1 stub inked, and I already realize how I find 1.1 stubs a bit on the narrow side already. So yeah, I'm getting there, I guess.
Well, hopefully you get there a little quicker. The last letter you wrote, I actually had to take a picture with my phone and enlarge it because there were a few spots where either my contacts weren't lining up correctly or whatever the case was. But I was just like, your writing was tiny.
And I guess that wasn't even the tiniest writing I can do.
And it could have also been the pink ink that you used.
Did I use pink ink? I
You
don't
did.
remember anymore. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you used pink. All I know is I'm used to seeing these letters that are on like 5 millimeter or 7 millimeter dot grid. And then I see your letters and there's that 4 millimeter. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be tiny.
Well, that said, I mean, these days, when I write letters, I don't use every line of those 4 millimeter. I basically use two most of the time. So
Well, you didn't on this one.
I didn't on this one. I mean, there used to be a time where I said, okay, I'm writing on A6 paper because if I write so tiny, then A5 just looks weird and the lines get too long. Slowly. I mean, like you said, your pens are never empty if you write so tiny and with so fine nibs, and that's also not fun.
There is that. There definitely is that. Oh, man. So do you think you're actually going to finish off your Roar and Klinger Verdigris?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I have two eyedroppers lined up that have full-day nibs and stub nibs. I'm going to use soon, I guess, and I think that should be doable.
So after you finish the Verdigris kicker, is that when you're going to go through your green phase here?
I mean, that would probably be a good idea if I want to finish the bottle. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick to it. Yeah, so I have this bottle of Diamine Meadow, and this is I really, really like the color. That's why I also picked it at the beginning of the year as my actual empty ink bottle challenge ink. But this is such a dry ink. I mean, there are pens that literally where literally ink doesn't come out when you use that ink. And this is just annoying if you have to use certain pens only. And yeah. So now I'm looking into other light green inks that are sort of similar, but hopefully better behaved. Like this Ackerman ink. I have a sample of Diamine Kelly Green. I mean, in the swaps, those three inks, they are almost identical. So I'm hoping that one of them would be better behaving. And I have a sample of Rubber Duster Green Lime, which is also sort of similar. And then we'll see.
Now, was this the first diamine ink that you found to be dry, or have you tried more diamine inks that tend to kind of have a dry feel to them?
I mean, this was this. It's hard to tell because I use so many. I mean, I have so many inks and ink samples that I oftentimes just use them all once, and then it's of course
Mhm.
hard to tell if it's the pen or if it's the ink. Yeah, this is actually the first one that I find so difficult. On my desk here, I have three other diamine inks. Like one of my favorites is diamine pumpkin.
Mhm.
That's not dry at all. What do we have here? Diamine green black is also super well. We have diamine marine. Also, I think it's totally okay. It's just yeah, this is ah, such a great color, but so difficult to use.
Well, the biggest reason I was asking is because with diamine oxblood, I had the same issue. Every pen I put it in, didn't matter what nib, it was an extremely dry, poor feeding ink. And then I'd put like Midnight or Bilberry in there, and I'd have no troubles with them at all. So I'm wondering if maybe it's whatever additive they use to get the color.
I mean, there are some people that say uh, inks that are have a yellow component tend to be dry. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see when I try the Ackerman yellow. But yeah, I don't know. It's just some inks are just difficult. And I guess this is also one of the reasons why I like this Rohrer and Klingner verdigris so much. It is such a nice flowing ink, and it's so much fun to use because it
Just extremely well behaved.
no, I mean it feathers on cheap paper like crazy, but
Yeah, but that's
I don't
cheap
use cheap
paper.
paper.
I mean,
I
come
mean,
on.
I can't use this ink on Leuchtturm paper because it's sort of, I mean, it doesn't 100% bleed through, but it, I can use other dark inks and you don't see them on the other side of the page, but this one you do. So this is sort of,
Hmm,
but yeah,
okay.
I like it. I like it, and it sort of works in good enough that I just continue using it.
So last question before I let you go for your coffee here. How goes the 3 pen challenge that you set up for yourself?
The pen challenge that I set up for myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My pen challenge. I'm currently having 7 pens inked. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. Depending on how you interpret, either I've totally failed, but on the other hand, I mean, even 7 pens is still an improvement over the 15 that I had recently. I guess I just have to make sure I don't ink up more. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. Then you get that Pelikan, and of course you have to try it out, and then you get that Pen VBS, and you have to try it out, and then yeah, I got another light green ink, so a Caran d'Ache ink in a cartridge, and I made a swab, and then half of the cartridge was left, and I thought, okay, now I need to find a pen for it. I come up with a good reason for each pen that I ink up, but of course, doesn't mean that I really should.
Well, you've been expanding your collection. I actually decided to downsize mine, so we'll see how that goes.
I mean, my downsizing consisted of sending Chinese pens to people.
Well, I do this thing about every 2 to 3 months where I look through the pen drawer or the pen case, and I just look for a pen that I haven't written with during that time. And except for when I did the review for it, I actually have not written with that Kaweco Art Sport, so it needs to be rehomed.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually puts me down to 1 pen currently inked up.
Huh. Wow.
Yep.
The Nakaya, I would guess.
No, that one
No.
actually, I wrote that one dry 2 days ago. So I cleaned it and put it in the pen case. I'm getting ready to do a review on the Visconti Pininfarina, the one that's got the tube nib. Dr. Brownie over on Not Another Pen podcast sent it out to me to go ahead and do a review. So I inked it up at the beginning of the week. I've already written through. Oh wow. Yeah, I've already written through an entire converter. No wonder it was writing a little bit dry during my show notes.
Cool.
If the Kaweco does get rehomed, I think that's going to put me back down to 9 pens before the Chinese pens get here from you.
I'm at 50 pens, and I already have a hard time deciding which ones to.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which one of us rubs off on the other.
Yeah, I really should have less pens. I mean, it's not fun if you have a whole cup of pens on your desk that you've used at most once. But at 50 pens, this is sort of difficult. If you at the same time also want to have only, let's say, a few pens inked up.
Well, with that, my friend, I will let you go for your morning cup of coffee. I'm going to go ahead and get this edited out and get it posted. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.